So you're working a lot of hip flexors today. So when you guys are ready, just have your toes touch each other, knees apart a little wider than your hips, extending forward into child's pose and just starting to sink into the hips. And as we extend in child's pose, we're breathing. So we're having nice long arms, long fingers, long wrists, length to the side of the body, and length to your breath. So we feel the nice long inhale and a deep exhale. And settle the tops of your feet on the mat. So settle the tops of the feet, settle the shins, and roll a little deeper down into your hips. So it's going to feel like your belly and your chest are moving between your inner thighs to the floor while you stretch backwards with the hips. Length of the torso. So we take 3 more nice deep breaths in here and exhale. You continue practice breathing into your back. And one more time. We'll walk the arms all the way to the right. So you guys are going to go as far to the right as you can. You're just going to keep on going and don't stop going to the right. Okay, so you're going to continuously keep your hips to your feet and keep going as far right as you can, all the way over, and lengthen 2 sides of your body. Relax the shoulders so the torso has length and strength. You're breathing in, breathing out. And we'll come all the way to the left side. When you guys are ready, come all the way over to the left side of body. And again, you want your hips really hanging down and stretch through the waist on that side. And keep stretching the torso, relaxing the shoulders. We'll come back to the center and come right up onto all fours. So we're going to have the knees right under the hips, the wrists right under the shoulders, and rock a little forward onto your wrists so you're moving toward your fingertips, and then come back. And try that one more time. Come forward toward your fingertips, keep the arms straight, and then come back. Come right into the center, take a cat stretch. So you're going to stretch up and lift your spine, separate your shoulder blades. And then as you inhale, you're going to release and arch your lower back. Like really arch the lower back. You try that one more time. Nice big cat stretch, big deep stretch. Pull the navel in and arch your lower back. Good. We're going to come into neutral and bring your right leg out to the side. So you want to make sure the leg is out to the side of the knee, or the foot is out to the side of the knee. And you're not lunging over to the side. You have your hip and your knee in that good straight line. And you'll feel that stretch at the inner thigh. And we'll turn the toes forward and just feel the inner thigh activate in the stretch here. And take a little cat and cow. So you're going to cat stretch and round the back. And then cow pose. Arch that lower back. You're really going to get into the inner thigh when you arch that lower back. And try that again. And arching. And one more time, you guys keep those hips and shoulders squared, keep the neck relaxed. And arching, good. So you're gonna extend your left arm forward and bring the right arm underneath with your palm up. And we're gonna rest to the side of the shoulder. Just, putting that shoulder down. You can put a block under your head or something like that, but just see if you can come down and settle down into the shoulder. The head relaxed. Keep the sides of the waist long. And breathing deeply as you open up your back, maybe even cat stretch your upper back. Feel like you're going to stretch into it. And we'll slowly release and come right out, bringing the hands back. Open up through the chest again, little cat and cow, and then come into neutral position. And we'll try the other side. So you're going to bring that right knee in and that left leg out to the side. Again, deepening the stretch here, okay? So have that foot in line with knee, toes, my toes are turning forward. And we'll arch the back, that low back, that like cow pose. And then round the back into cat stretch. So we'll try that again. Inhaling or breathing, right, as you're doing this. And exhaling, squeezing the belly. And we'll try one more time, arching the back and rounding. You're going to arch that lower back or make it neutral. Bring the right hand forward, left arm underneath, palm is up, stretch it and get that shoulder to drop. And the side of the head comes down. So stay in that inner thigh stretch, combining it with the shoulder and upper back stretch. So you're even going to cat stretch the upper back if you can. You know, you're going to round that upper back, reach into it. As you breathe in and breathe out. All right, I'm gonna let that go and come right into the knees. And we're gonna sit back on the toes. You guys are gonna flex your feet just like that and curl the toes underneath. And bring your heels together. Yep, and just sitting right on the toes. If that gets too much, you come out of it for a little bit. But see if you can lengthen through the waist, take your right arm up and back, and stretch that right elbow back, opening up here, and trying not to push out on the side of the body. So keep the side of the waist nice and long, and just press the elbow back. And we'll do the same on the other side. So left arm goes up, and second side, grab that elbow, press it back. Inhale and exhale. Beautiful. Release that down, shake out those hands, shake out those toes and the feet, and come into downward facing dog. So we're going to stretch back, pressing the heels down, spread out those fingers, and just releasing the spine. So let your spine just kind of relax down as you breathe in and breathe out. Let your head relax. And inhaling and exhaling into the body. Getting a really, really nice stretch in through the back of the legs, you guys. So press back into your legs and do a little cat and cow for the lower back. So you're going to arch and round the lower back. You'll feel when you arch the back, the hamstrings get a little more pull. So of course, I'm going to encourage you to do that. Encourage you to arch the lower back, feel the hamstring pull, and then round to release it a little bit. And one more time. Try to hold that deep stretch for the hamstring and take your right leg up to the sky. Start to open up your hip flexor. Okay, so this morning this whole week, we're working on that hip flexor. So right from that hip point to the top of your thigh, you're stretching. And we're breathing. Inhale and exhale. We'll slowly bring that knee into the chest. And you're going to bring your knee under your left arm. And you're going to drop down. So it's going to be an outside of your hip stretch here. Not a pigeon pose. You're just going to roll to the side of the hip. So you're going to stretch to the side of your right hip. Just kind of reaching over. And then inhale, coming back up and back into downward facing dog. So reach back. So we got a little outside of hip stretch. And taking the left leg up. So reach it up here, guys. And stretching your hip flexor. So again, the top of that hip point to the top of your thigh. I'm going to open that up. And breathe. And we'll slowly tuck the knee in and bring the knee under the right arm, the shin and everything, and come to the side and just drop the side of your hip. You're just going to kind of stretch into or hang into the outside of your left hip. And inhale and exhale. It's a nice slow stretch. Great. Let's release it back up. Come back to downward dog. And this time you're going to bend your knees and squat back. And take your right thigh over your left. This is going to be your eagle bind. So really squeeze those hip points together. Narrow them in. Squat back. And step your right foot forward. And we'll come into this blizzard stretch. So we're really coming down, you guys. So everybody's use the yoga blocks if you need it. And your back leg is going to be long. If you need to curl the toes, go ahead and do that. But if you're able to flatten out the back shin, and I want you guys to sink into this hip. So what I'm going to ask you to do is possibly pull this foot back a little bit so that you can sink into the hip here and drop your hip down, and you're stepping into that front heel a little bit more, and elongate your back leg. So you're really getting that stretch. And we're going to try to go to the outside of the hip a little bit. So you're going to turn to the side of your left hip. You guys are going to turn a little bit to the side. So you're going to roll to the side of the hip. You're going to kind of lean to that left arm. And just kind of feel the outside of your hip and the outside of your thigh coming to the floor. Your waist stays long. Now you're going to keep that hip like that, but just turn your torso back to the front, okay? So your hands are going to be in the front, but you're rolling to the side of your hip. You're getting a little bit into those muscles on the outside. You're lifting your belly as you breathe. All right, you release that down and straighten out that front leg. Keep your hands where they are. Just going to straighten out your front leg and just press so that you open up the back of the knee, the hamstring. And right here, do a little cat and cow. So you're going to round and arch your lower back. You'll notice when you arch the back, you feel that pulling a little bit more stretch. So really work into that, really feel that stretch. And one more time. And release. Good. Come forward and sweep that leg back. Come into downward dog again. So reach back. Bend your knees into that squat again. And cross your left thigh over your right for that eagle bind. So narrow in those hips. Hug them in. Lengthen your spine. Two sides as you breathe in and breathe out. And then stepping that left foot forward. So come on up. Dropping your back leg down. All right. So again, toes curled or point if you can. Once you guys get here, come into this heel. So maybe move that foot back so you can sit into that hip. Sit right into it. And this back leg is getting a stretch. Your back hip is getting a stretch from the hip point to the thigh. And we're going to start to roll to the side of your hip. So you're going to start to stretch or lean to the right. So you're going to feel the side of your hip coming to the floor. And you're going to keep doing that as you turn your torso back to the front. So you're still on the side of your hip there. You're still opening that up. So lift through the chest. Inhale and exhale. And then we'll start to reach back. So keep your hands where they are. Just start to kneel back, shift back, and start to work to straighten your front leg. So again, it's a nice length to your spine, to the back of the leg. And start to do a little cat and cow, so a little arch and round of the spine. Lower back more specifically. And two more, nice breath arching and rounding. And one more time, arch and round. All right, we're gonna step the back foot in. So we're gonna come into forward bend this morning and having the knees bend a little bit. They can be apart, they can be together, but ground into your feet, right foot and left foot. So really press into it. So you can do this. You can press your hands onto your feet, or you can put your hands to your shins if you can't reach your feet. But feel the toes press. Feel each individual toe in the tops of your feet, right where you would like tie your shoelaces. Press, 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 press. All right, and you're gonna bring the arms behind the knees and grab the backs of the elbows. Press into your legs, lengthen your spine, draw the shoulders away from the ears. So the center of the body is nice and strong. And press the knees against the forearms as you breathe in and breathe out. So don't let your shoulders have tension, like relax, you know, and breathe, breathe, breathe. All right. So you're gonna bend your knees and roll yourself up into standing. So round, 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 walk your feet together. And we're focusing on this hip flexor area. So these points of the hips, we don't let them flare out. We keep them strong, but we're stretching the points of the hips up and the tops of the thighs down. So we're opening the hips. We're gonna reach open the shoulders. Let those hip points lift. Let the arms go back and the head and the neck and the shoulders go back. So you're relieving that forward hunching position and you're relieving that contraction or tightness at the hips as you breathe in and breathe out. Activate the muscles behind the hips, behind the neck and shoulders. Beautiful. We'll rise up and fold down again. So just squeeze again into your hip. Arch that lower back, come into halfway lift. So arch the lower back. And bring the hands down and step back with your left leg. So you guys are going to step that left leg back and put it down on the ground and rise up into warrior two. So we're going to open up. So your shoulders are nice and wide. Your body is long to the side of the mat, but you're turning your chin to the front. Now pull your back shoulder back, like activate the hand, the back fingers, the wrist. And activate your back foot and your back leg. So you're stepping or reaching into your back leg, your back arm. Take that back arm and sweep it underneath and forward. So back arm goes forward and that top arm sweeps over and back. And you start pulling deeper through the legs, deeper through the fingers, and your toes and feet are grounded. As you inhale and exhale. Now you may want to like puff out the side of your ribs, but I'm going to encourage you guys to kind of pull in and lift. So you have more length to the side body than you do pushing the side body out. All right, let's rise up and straighten out that front leg and open the chest again. We'll extend over to the side and bring the arm in front. So you're going to hinge a little forward today. And take this top arm straight up, and we're working at a stretch to the side of your hip. So how we're going to do that is try to open up, draw the side of the hip, right? So getting that nice push open to the side of the hip. Much like when we were on the floor and we had that hip, we were rolling to the side. I want you to try to keep stretching that side and maybe take the top arm over, if that's okay for you. Belly's in. Low belly's active. Inhale and exhale. And we'll rise up and turn the toes in the direction you guys are facing. And we'll narrow in those hip points. You really want to hook those in as you come down. So really squeeze the hips in, contract in through the hips, reach the hands through, press into the tops of your feet again, you guys. So use your hands or whatever you need to push forward into the tops of your feet. So you're not leaning back into your heels. Keep pressing forward. Keep narrowing in your hips. So really, really contract them. Really fold them in. Find your breathing. Lengthen two sides of the waist. Inhaling and exhaling. And again, inhale. And exhale. I'm going to turn over to the right leg. So your feet are going to turn to the right. The body's going to turn to the right. You're going to use those yoga blocks. You're going to step into both feet very strong. So the tops of both feet have strength. Back one and front one. You're folding into that front hip. So as we come down, or maybe you might want to lift your spine first and then come down. But as you come down, you're going to arch and round your lower back. And then work toward arching your lower back, lengthening your spine. And we'll come around to the center and we'll turn the toes the other way. So we'll come right to the other side. And again, you're in both feet. So make sure that you're pressing into both feet, tops of both feet, square your hips off. Maybe you might want to lift your spine first before you elongate. But narrow in that hip, right? Don't let it roll out. And as you come down, arch around the low back. And then work into arching the low back as you come down. All right, we're gonna come right back into the center. Bring the hands to the hips. Keep those hips strong as you rise up. So keep grounded into your feet. Hips are strong. All right, we're gonna turn to the front, step in together. Bring your hands right to the hips here. Keep them nice and strong. Open up into that back bend again. So we'll open up the arms. Lift those hip points up, right to the shoulders, and reach back. So get rid of any tightness that you might have at the chest or the throat or the neck, but specifically today, the hips, right? Inhale and exhale. We'll come over to the right side. So you're gonna bring that right hand down. Left arm comes over. Again, the tendency might be to like push out at the side, but really want to encourage you guys to lengthen. So it's almost like you gotta really hug it in and stretch over. Belly is strong. And release up. And we'll do the same on the other side. So we're coming up and pull, pull, pull. Right over to the left side. Beautiful job. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, pull down. Bring your right leg back. I'm going to practice on this side. So you're going to ground your back foot and rise up into warrior two. So you guys are going to come into warrior two. Your torso's to the side, but your gaze is forward. Bending the left knee. And everybody pull that left arm, that back arm really far back, your right arm. Really pull it back and press into both feet. And then you'll take those fingers of the back arm and you're going to pull them to the front. And take the fingers of the front and pull them to the back. You're going to lean back. And again, do your best not to puff out that spine, but really hug it in and lengthen it as you pull and you breathe. You sink into your hips a little bit more. And as we rise up, we'll straighten out the leg, open up the chest, hinge a little forward as you come down. Top arm is up. And lower belly has activation, you guys. So you want to, again, lengthen that side body. Try not to puff it out, but push into the side of that right hip. So press into the side of the hip. Really get that stretch. Yeah, and that top arm goes over. Roll open that top shoulder as you do this, but keep pressing into the side of the hip. All right, we'll rise up, rise up, rise up. And we'll step to the front. Okay, so we'll step it into the front. Clasp the hands together, open the chest. Go ahead and lift your chest even more, you guys. Open throat. Exhale into that forward bend, squeeze the hips. Arms go way over. I'm going to sweep the hands down behind you to the floor, but reach back as far back to the yoga mat as you can and squat as deep as you can. So keep hugging into your hip flexors. Keep squeezing into the hips. We'll bring the hands to the heart and we're going to twist to the right. So you keep wanting to hold the hip in. And you try to get the shoulder now to the outside there and open up the arms. Get those hips super, super contracted. All right, we'll try the other side. So come in. Woohoo. A lot of work here in the hips. Come over to the other side. Get that outer shoulder. Squeeze your hips. Belly is in. And release. All right, we're going to step into plank. As we come into plank, you're going to hold a good strong plank. And you're going to start to drop your hips to the floor. And change the feet so the tops of your feet come down and press the tops of your thighs. Lift those hips to the shoulders And then engage your hip flexors and your lower belly to lift. And we'll press it down again. So you're really opening up. And engage. Lift. Go back into downward dog. So reach back. Flatten out through those feet. Breathing in. Breathing up. Let's come down onto the knees. Open the knees. Your knees are going to open out. And we're going to come into frog pose. We're going to, again, keep working on those hip openers. So you're going to get a little bit deeper here. You're going to come down onto the forearms, maybe palms up. Knees are open. And start to move your hips forward. And start to flex your feet out to the side. So again, we want to try to open up across the hip points. Running down toward the thighs. So your feels like the tops of your thighs roll out, your quads. Start to roll open. And you start to feel a deeper stretch in the inside of the legs. And here's where you might want to do a little cat and cow just to kind of manipulate the hips a little bit more. A little more breath. If you're able to, you're going to come all the way down onto the belly. Just keep your hips in line with your knees so they don't go too far back or too far forward. Breathing in, breathing out here. And move the tops of your thighs out a little bit more. All right, and then slowly bring your hands under your chest. Bring yourself up. Walk it in. Crisscross the ankles. Have a seat. Hug the legs in. All right, so you guys are gonna wrap in here. You're gonna bring your feet in real close to your bottom. And bring your forehead to your knees as you round your upper and lower back. Lengthen your spine. Now lift up, lift up. So bring that lower back and that upper back into the stretch. Let's try that again. Press your feet nice and strong. Round your lower back and your upper back. Push your shoulder blades forward. And then inhale, move the shoulder blades against the back. Lift through your spine. One more time, you guys. Stretch back. And come up. Beautiful. Let's bring the tops of the feet together. This is going to be a really nice hip opener here. So again, you want to release maybe the quads coming out and open. So you can kind of manipulate by pressing into the quads. I'm going to press the feet. You could also do a little bouncing action. That might help you to open up your hips a little bit more. We're lifting up through the chest. And those hip points open out. So lift through those hip points. We'll start to come forward. So we'll start to lean that low back forward, upper back forward. Breathing, breathing, breathing. So we inhale and exhale. Stretching through the spine. See if you can keep grounding through your legs and your hips. Lengthen a little more. Like pull your torso and your inhale and exhale, sinking it down. Beautiful. So we come up and we'll take that right leg out. And you can use your yoga strap here, okay? So the right leg's gonna go out to the side. We're gonna come over to the side. So if you need the yoga strap for your foot, you're gonna use that for your foot because we're coming to the side. But bring this foot as close in and up as you can. If it bothers your knee, you're gonna bring it out, okay? So you're gonna really try to anchor into that or keep that pulled in, keep that hip nice and strong. Sit into your legs, like just the way when you're standing, you're pressing your feet into the ground. You're pressing every part of your leg and your hip and you're sitting going into the ground. You want to keep that leg nice and strong as you come over to the side. Now, when we come over to the side, you guys, you're going to want to push this out. You're going to want to launch that out and arch. But I want to encourage you guys to draw that into the body and lengthen it over. So again, you can hold the foot or you can use the strap. But lengthen two sides of your body. So really pulling, pulling, pulling from there. If you inhale, And exhale. Round through the feet, roll that shoulder back a little bit more. Pull as deep as you can from the base of your spine, right out of your hips. As we rise up, we're going to come into twist. So we're going to reach up and rotate your spine. So you'll come around, lift everything up, you guys, and you're rotating from way down here, from that lower part of your belly, lower part of your torso, okay? The middle part's going to want to do the wiggling. So we're trying to pull from the base. Maybe turn your upper spine, maybe turning the head. We'll come into the center or release the hands back. So open your chest. Get that really good opening here, you guys. And start to lift the top of the hip points up. Draw the belly in and get that lift of the top of the hips. Shoulders back. Arms strong. Beautiful. All right, let's bring that in and we're going to change the sides. So we'll bring that right one in and that left one out. You're going to get it pretty much out there as far as you can get out there, okay? So really work into that extension there, ground through the legs. You want to get really good and grounded. Okay, so very good and grounded. Feet, the legs, the hips, and lift, lift, lift. And again, we're coming over to the side, and as you come over, you keep this from going out. You pull it in and you lengthen it. That's all coming from the base here, from that hip. So you're lifting, almost feels like you're lifting your hip point up again. You're breathing in, breathing out. So keep drawing it in and lengthen over. Maybe rolling the top shoulder back a little bit more. Keeping the legs grounded. Keep pulling deeply. All right, let's come on up and we'll twist. And again, as we come into this twist, it comes from way down here, you guys. So you're pulling your lower belly, turning that lower back, turning your upper back. Breathing, breathing, breathing. Maybe even turning the head. Bring that all the way around. All right, let's let that go. Very good. We're going to come right onto the belly. So you're going to make your way, transfer onto your tummy. And as you come onto your tummy, I'll turn the sides so you can hopefully see. You want to have your legs nice and long, and the tops of your hips are stretching here, right? The tops of your thighs. You're lifting your hip points. So we're in this cobra pose, but you want to stay grounded right at your sit bones, or grounded, down as deep as you can there, and lift your spine, lift your belly, lift those hip points, right side, left side. So you're breathing deeply, getting that good lift, maybe even pushing the head and the shoulders back a little bit more. And bend that right leg in. So we're going to be working into this strain. Maybe flex your foot and then point and push the head back. Push the shoulders back. Breathe deeply. Releasing that down, and we'll take it to the other side. So you're going to bend in, bend in. Make sure your thigh stays on the ground. It doesn't roll over to the other side. So pull it in, flex. Pull it in a little more, point, and then push your head back. Right to it. And slowly, release that down. Awesome. Let's come all the way down. Take it into downward dog again, or you can do child's pose if you want to, okay? Then press up and just kind of open up and lengthen your lower back. Stretch into your hamstrings. Breathing in, breathing out. All right, let's take our right leg and fold it in front for a pigeon pose. We're going to work into king pigeon. So your right foot comes in, your right knee comes in, your right shin, and the right foot is tucked in. Don't have your right foot out here for this one because we're working on that back hip. So we're going to sink down and kind of roll a little right, roll a little left, and maybe roll to the left a little bit more. So you're on the outside of that left hip, just to kind of stretch out the hip a little bit more on the side. And we'll come into the center. So this is a little combination of what you just did, just having that leg folded in front. If this is too much for you, you just stay right here or come down, but you're really lifting the belly and anchoring down at the sits bones on both legs. And you'll take that back leg in, and you'll press back, or maybe reach for your foot. And so this will help you get a shoulder stretch as well. So however you want to grab your foot. And pulling it in. You roll to the side, make sure you're on the outside of that foot, that hip rather, as you're pulling in that stretch. Really pull it in, you guys, do your best. And let it go. And release, and we'll try the other side. So you're gonna work into child's pose or down dog, just to kind of open up your back after that. It was a little much. And stretch out. And low back. Hollow out the belly. We'll bring that left leg in, left pigeon pose, right? The knee goes out. And your left heel or left foot is right in front of that right hip. And again, you stretch out your back leg, and we're just gonna roll to the right, roll to the left, roll right, roll left. And you're gonna kind of be more to the outside of the right foot, right hip rather. Just kind of rolling to the side there. And again, stay here if it works. And if you're able to, bend that back leg in. Really get that stretch, looks good. And if you're wanting to, grab your foot, get that shoulder to stretch as well as a little extra stretch. But keep rolling to the outside of the right hip if you're working into this. Lifting through the chest, breathing deeply. All right, let's let that go. And take that downward dog or child's pose again, whichever one you need. Come into some shoulders here, give the hips a little break. Come down on the knees and stretch the arms forward for extended puppy pose. Now remember, you guys, you want to keep your lumbar part of your spine from flexing too much. So you hold the navel in, and we're stretching more the outer shoulders. So you're going to press the side walls of the chest down. Keep those arms lifting back. You're working into the stretch of the chest and the shoulders. You're pulling your chest a little more forward as you go down. And the arms feel like they're pushing up from the floor as the sides of your chest come down. You're breathing, breathing, breathing. Inhale. And exhale. And again, breathing in and breathing out. You're going to bring those elbows in, and you're going to bring the elbows down. Walk the elbows forward. And again, try to stretch right here. So you're trying to open this up and press this down to the floor, keeping the belly in. Right, so you're pressing right side, left side. Getting a better stretch. Chest is forward. Bringing the hands back to your back. And letting go. Ooh. All right. We're going to come up and take a wide-legged. I know a lot of hips today, guys. Take that wide-legged open before we come up to the back and stretch the low back. So get as open as you can. Get as open as you can. And the key parts to our strength in yoga is to understand the grounding of the legs. So just the way when you're standing up in mountain pose, you're pressing your feet, you're pressing your shins into the ground. You're doing the same thing when you're sitting. Press your heels into the ground. Press your shins into the ground. Press your thighs into the ground. Press your hips into the ground. So you keep pressing down as you lift this. And this whole area here is going to support the shoulders. So if you're strong in through here, you're not like squeezing your shoulders up, right? Your shoulders can just relax on this. So you're trying to find the strength of the legs, find the strength here, and relax the neck and the shoulders. Okay, so keep pressing your legs deeply as you can. And inhale, exhale. So you bring the hands back and we'll open up through the chest, open up the hips. Inhale and exhale. So keep lifting the hips, but don't launch out or arch your back, that middle part, the lumbar back. And arch that low back. That's good. It'll help to open the hips up. Okay, so we're going to move into this arching of the low back and pressing the low back forward as we come down. See if you can come down on your forearms with me. If not, stay right here. But don't use this as a stopping point. Maybe turn your palms up so that you can come down. Keep those legs active. And continue to stretch your back without rounding it. Okay, so no cat stretch here. You're lengthening the sides and you're feeling like you are stretching your sits bones back a little bit more now as your thighs are down. So your pelvis is tipping. Bottom of the hips go to the back wall. Top of the hips go to the front wall. And maybe come down even more. And if this is way too much for you, you back off a little bit, right? So you keep pulling your legs, keep pulling your torso, and you're inhaling and exhaling. All right, and then when you're ready, bring yourself up. Take your time, use your hands to bring your legs in. Very good. Nice little tuck here. This is going to be a little bit of low back and combination outer hip, but it helps the low back. So that right knee is going to come down and that left one is going to come on top of it. Now, if you can't do this, just do your best to get as close to this as you can. The sides of your feet rest on the floor and your sit bones down. So you're going to start to stretch your lower back forward. Start to come forward. And keeping your feet and your shins and your knees down. So continue to stretch and breathe. You want to keep that torso nice and strong so the neck and shoulders are relaxed. Inhale and exhale. And before we go to the other side, we're just going to come on up, roll the shoulders back, keep this nice and strong. Bring the ear over to the side, get this nice reach. And again, you don't want to stick your neck out to the side. You're feeling like the same thing as your waist. You pull it in and you lengthen it over to the side. So getting that little strength work here. And we'll do the same the other side. So just come on up and bring the head over to the side. Try not to stick that out. Just pull gently the neck in and over. And then release. And we're going to change sides. So you can lean back and take that left under, right under, however you want to bring it over, however you want to do it, right? Just get those knees nice and stacked. Okay, or do the best, right? So tops of the feet down, your sitting bones are down. Nice long spine, looking good this morning, you guys. Get a nice long spine and feel your sit bones, feel your legs rooted, right? So you don't want to lean over to one side, and then start to stretch your lower back forward. Your hands can be on your hips if you want to, on your feet rather if you want to, or they can be forward. But just keep noticing that you want the sit bones to be anchored and your lower back to stretch. You're breathing, breathing, breathing. A little more length to the low back. A little more stretch. All right, and then we'll come right up and circle the shoulders back before we come out of it. Get a nice little circle motion again. All right, and we're gonna lean the head over again. We'll stretch out the neck one more time, okay? So you can let that arm fall, you can put your hand there, but again, move that neck in and over to the side. Good, let's do the same on the other side. So come up and take it over, in and over the side. Nice. We're going to unwind and come onto the back. And we'll use the yoga block and the straps for these last parts. Okay, so if you have your strap, you have a yoga block, and you put it under your back. Put it on the hard part of your back. Don't put it behind your waist back here. Okay, just put it right at the sacrum, right behind your lower belly or your pelvis. And we'll bring the knees in. If you have a cushion, you can use a cushion. Bring the legs up. And you're just gonna squeeze your lower belly like toward the floor, okay? So your navel, your waist toward the floor. Grab hold of your legs and start to stretch your lower back and bring your ankles toward the floor by your ears. Just draw them in, keeping the waist toward the ground. Stretching your legs and your lower back toward the floor. Now you're going to send the left leg out, and you can hold the right leg with your hand or with the strap. You're going to move the leg a little bit to the right and just stretch the leg all the way toward the right shoulder. It's a little diagonal stretch. So try to pull the knee a little straighter, try to extend a little bit more. Almost feel like you're pulling your legs away from each other. And bringing it in, we'll take it to the other side. So you grab hold of the left leg or side two, dropping the other, use a strap if you need it. And move that leg off to the diagonal a little bit, stretch the back of the knee, and you're moving that leg toward the floor, toward that shoulder, outside of your shoulder, stretching the other leg out. Bring that bottom leg back up and see if we can stretch the low back even more now. Just kind of pull in a little bit deeper. A little more stretch of the legs, pull them straight down. And then release, bend the knees, move your yoga block to come into happy baby pose and really move the thighs apart. Grab your feet or your ankles or your toes. Bring your ankles on top of your knees and press the tops of your thighs to the floor beside your hips. Now you want to narrow in those hip points. So hug them in, those two top hip points as you pull your thighs down. Beautiful. Let's release and again use the yoga straps, holding that right leg. And we'll bring the leg straight as you can, or you can use your opposite hand to grab the foot. Okay, so either opposite hand grabs the strap or grabs the foot. Anchor the hip down. And you guys are going to bring the leg across. Keep your other leg straight. Don't turn into the hip. Okay, so you're going to keep working on this side of your leg here. Just, really opening that up and enjoying that stretch. So you can do a little pat, pat, pat if you want to of the leg. Your arm can come out, your thumb can be up if you want to, but just get some length to the side of the knee, the side of your shin, and the outside of your leg. And breathe in and breathe out. All right, let's bring that up and we'll take it to the other side. So bringing that left leg up or side two. Again, use the yoga strap or grab hold of the foot with the strap with the opposite hand. Make your leg straight. Bring it across. And again, getting that nice stretch the outside of your leg. So make sure that you're really soothing and stretching out the side of your thigh, side of the knee. Right? You're breathing deeply. Other leg stays straight. Arm can be out if you want to. All right, let's let that go. Circle that around. And we're going to drop down that left leg and bring that right knee in. Now, make sure your left leg doesn't turn on this, and find your hip point, that top hip point, and kind of push it up. A lot of times it'll just sink backwards, okay? So you want to lift it up a little bit and roll that hip point over. So you're narrowing in that right hip as you bring that right leg across the left. So let the hip close. And see if you can keep going and trying to keep your other hip from turning. And keep pulling this right hip in and across, keeping your spine long and strong. So the rotation happens way down deep at the base of the spine. Shoulders open, chest open, really flare that shoulder. All right, let's try the other side. So bringing that in, stretching out that right leg, and bringing the left knee in. So pick up, before you start doing anything, pick up that left hip so it's not falling backwards. And then narrow it across, holding your right leg from turning. Just keep pulling that hip up and across. And just strengthening inside that hip flexor. Okay, so you're going to squeeze, squeeze, squeeze right into that hip flexor. Just keep hugging into it. Listening to your breathing. Squeeze a little bit more. And release. All right. Very good, you guys. So cross the right ankle in front of the left and let the hips open again. Maybe that right one, maybe that left one needs a little more opening, a little more length. Stretch out your low back, lock your fingers together, and stretch the arms out over the head. The outer shoulder and elbows get to stretch, and your back is long and strong. Okay, so the sides of the waist are long, neck is long, good. And release the hands down, cross the other ankle in front just to get a good little balance here. And we'll do that one more time to stretch up and over and stretch the sides of the shoulders, stretch and elongate the neck, reach the head and the shoulders back as you breathe in and breathe out. Awesome, you guys. Let's release, walk the legs in, tuck them in for a few breaths. And send your legs out. Relax the arms, relax the head, relax the neck and shoulders. Close your eyes and listen to your breathing. Okay, so you close your eyes and you listen to your inhale and your exhale. And just feel your inhale. Feel that breath in. Experience the exhale long and slow and deep. Feeling really good as we inhale fully and exhale. See if you can feel your lower belly and your lower back receive the inhale so that they move away from each other and they fill up. And they relax toward each other as you breathe out. It's not always possible for everyone to feel that in the low belly, low back, but just keep trying to send the breath down. Continue to engage your lower belly to help to move that air out. Engage the lower back to bring the air in. As you're practicing this, give your breath an audible quality so that you can hear the breath at the center of the throat. Relax deeply through the eyes, mouth, tongue, the neck and the jaw. Relax the arms and the legs, back, the buttocks. All right, so we'll come out of Shavasana together. Get into that time where you can start to move your body. Start to move your hands, your feet, fingers, toes. Take your time rolling to your side. And coming up to seated, feel your hips anchored, body long, eyes open, neck relaxed, head is balanced. Okay, so just feel the balance in the body, feel the hips nice and relaxed. Have a great day, everybody. Namaste.